Alright, hey there. Okay, video number 28 overall, but video number 12 of the second module. And in this one we're going to talk about the fractals. Alright, the false index was the next one on the list, but I tell you what, the false index is just really not worth its space or its time, so we're not going to bother about that one. The fractal indicators is also a good indicator to use. By default I think it switches this to grey, but just go ahead and switch it to black anyway. Click on OK. And I prefer to use the fractal indicator on larger time frames, and also suggest that you do the same as well. 1 hour is not the best time frame really to use this on. I'd like to go a little bit higher. Alright, these tend to give me less false signals. Alright, right, okay, so let's just give you an idea here. What I like to look for are essentially support and resistance levels, but in essence they're really supply and demand levels that I'm looking for. The supply and demand levels are really the true levels of support and resistance, and then you have like minor support and resistance where there isn't really all that much going on in there. Alright, so what I try to look for is go for the higher time frame charts and then look in the market for areas in which I feel it's going to reverse. So I take a look at the fractal indicators here, and we can see that there's a point here and there's a point here. Alright, and there was a bit of supply going on there. We had a bit of supply going on here, and then the market dropped, and then we got some demand down the bottom. Now this demand down the bottom can be used later on for predicting what's going to happen in the future. So when we see the currency pairs kind of develop a congestion down the bottom here again like it did here, this is to let you know that we've got another supply level, another demand level coming on down here. So and then the market's just basically had a baseline rally, and then it's broken out of its demand box and it's just pierced and gone forwards. Alright, now we've come up to another area. There's a bit of congestion right here, and this is also another demand level because the market broke that demand level last time and it went up towards a supply level. Okay, so I'm looking for this to go up a little bit higher, maybe up to that 131.77 for another 60 odd pips. Alright, to take us like 260 pips up front, and work out if this is going to really keep on pushing forwards. Now it would be an idea for me to keep this trade open and stay within that new demand level, and to see if it breaks off and goes up any higher. Alright, that's one way that we can look at it. Alright, so we find little areas that are far away from each other. They're kind of they're isolated on their own. You see some areas that look very isolated, like this section here and this section down the bottom and this little bit here. Those are the areas that I first look at. That's for longer term projections. Now for shorter terms, I use what's referred to as a price action breakout. Alright, and price action breakout is essentially determining a certain point in time of a market price and when it's going to hit and break, and when it breaks is when it's going to hit the TP. Alright, so we're basically taking a guess really, but we're using these fractals as anchor points to determine where we're going to actually project our take profit targets. So what I tend to look for here is anytime I see these fractals that show a downward arrow, I'm looking for a sell trade opportunity at that particular point. Now when the point arrives is very important, and it needs to arrive pretty shortly after you create your buy order or your buy trade or sell trade or what have you, in order for it to sort of stand a good chance of actually making a profit. So let me just show you what I first do when I try to find a buy or sell signal. Now here is one section here. There's a fractal indicator. Now the way that the fractal indicator works is that after its second bar to its right, okay, here's its first bar to its right and here's its second bar to its right. When that second bar finishes and it starts a third one, you will start to see that fractal indicator appear. Alright, so it's only when on the third indicate on the third development, on the start of the development of the third candle, does that little fractal indicator appear. And then I want to count 5 bars in the future. Alright, so 5 bars from this second bar. So starting from the third bar, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 bars ends up on this red bar right here. And then what I'm looking for is I'm looking for it to break this little fractal, not the top part of the fractal, but the actual price. So I can come back over to the data window here, and then I can come over and hover over this particular candle, and you can see that it's a fractal up, and the fractal up is registered at 129.908. So 129.908 is 129.908. Oh, it's around about, oh, well, give or take a few tenths of a pip. Alright, so it's around about there. So that's my point at which I'll go long. My take profit point would be this fractal, this another down fractal right here, or I'd be looking for another up fractal. Alright, now this will be my first target, then my second one will be this target here, and then my third one will be at the top here. So those are my target levels. Alright, that's for a buy trade, so we entered based on this breakout. We counted 5 bars. If, say for instance, that this 6 bar was the point at which it broke the first time that it actually broke, let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. It actually breaks on the 4th bar, but if the 4th bar and the 5th bar didn't break that fractal high, or that fractal up fractal, then I would not take that trade even after like the next bar when I'm seeing it going up. I'm not going to do it, because I found that sometimes when I've acted on something that I should have done and I've gone in a little bit later, it's kind of bit me in the bum. So you either act on it at that point or you don't. Alright, and wait for a new signal to appear. Alright, now here's another section where we have some more. Here we have another buy up fractal. Now again, we've got to put our support and the resistance lines in. But for this particular trade setup using the fractals, we can be a little bit more precise on where the bar ends to put our lines in. Okay, so here we've got our up fractal. Alright, so the up fractal appears on the third bar, so the third bar is right here. So we count 5. 1, 2, boom, right on there. It actually breaks. It actually breaks that one on this second candle in of our 5 count. Now, you've got to be very careful when you see this appearing and don't want to jump straight into it, because you want to take a look at the next fractal above it and then take a calculation and say to yourself, is 29 pips really worth the risk when we've already established that this level here is already a resistance level. Okay, so be aware that look left, look right before you cross the road. Okay, so look over to the left, look over to the right, and make sure that you are not in anywhere in a precarious situation to go long and a point where you're at a resistance level. You only want to go short on a resistance level and go long on a support level. Alright, so have that memorized, because that will help you out a great deal, because that's probably one element that some people seem to miss, and they kind of catch up and understand a little bit later. Alright, so that's what you need to really pay attention to. Now, sideways trends, you also need to sort of study and look for these sideways trends, and sideways trends are quite easy to pick out. I mean, you're really looking for trading in ranging markets, and ranging markets is when you see it go up and down and up and down, but the gradual increase or the decrease of the price is very significant. Like for instance, you can see as it's going up, it comes back down, but it keeps edging up higher. It's coming down, and it edges up higher again, and it comes down and edges up higher again, and so forth. That is a ranging market. That's what you want. You don't want it where it's going. Let's see if we can find an area where it's going sideways. See here, it's going sideways. There's no real definitive direction. Every fractal up or down is very, very close with each other. Alright, so you want to ignore those kind of areas. Okay, so pinpoint any sideways trends if you see them, and only get in on trades when you see, when there's a quite big distance in these fractals as they appear on the chart. Alright, so I hope that's helped. Alright, so watch this video again, maybe at least watch it a couple of times, spend at least 2 or 3 days studying this one, because it can come in handy when we use this indicator with other indicators later on, so we can build a bigger picture for ourselves to decide whether we're going to go long or short and maybe pull out like another 200 pip trade. Alright, so until then, I will see you very shortly. Bye for now.